I'm under the impression that Jackson wasn't fit enough to play, otherwise he'd been on the bench, right? And Guiu's out as well.
Yeah.
So therefore, I get playing Kunku up top. There aren't that many other options I can think of. But here's my problem with that, because Kunku, and I feel for him, he wants to operate in a similar space as what Palmer does.
Yeah.
And actually, Palmer played up alongside him. We have this kind of a 2 9s or 2 kind of 9 and 10s, the pair of them. My problem with it is that we don't threaten teams in behind enough. And I watched City against us when we got beat 3-1 at their place. Nunez on one side, Guardiola the other. They're the fullbacks. They were running across the line and getting in behind. I want to see Neto do that. I want to see Noni do that. I want to see Sancho threatening behind. You've not got to stay surely rooted with, getting chalk on your heels. Come inside, make that run. The run across where you go
diagonal,
cross, and you get in behind. I don't see any invention like that at all. We're so easy. Everything's up. You're Lewis Dunk, and you see everything. I've seen
just in front of you.
Everything's there. It's easy to defend, especially when you got the players in front. They were defending, and their shape was so good. What you want to do is stretch that way, the pitch becomes bigger. We've done none of that, and that was the most frustrating part.
The problem is, when you don't play Nicholas Jackson, Kwaku, is like Jay says, you haven't got that. But if Kunku is going to want to come inside or come drop deep and occupy that similar space as Palmer, you have to have your wingers doing that running, because otherwise, like Jay says, your whole attack just becomes redundant and it's absolutely pointless.
Yeah, I wish you could just blend Kunku and Nicholas Jackson together, because Kunku in front of goal, I think he's a better natural finish than Nicholas Jackson.
Yeah, I would say so, yeah.
But Jackson offers so much. And you saw in Maresca's comments, what did he say? He said, on Nicholas Jackson, he said, sometimes I think you need to play some games without players to realise how important they are. Off the ball, his pressing's always very good, and on the ball, he's always a threat. That speaks to how much Nicholas Jackson helps the team in terms of that pressing threat. He is also willing to make the runs in behind all the time. Whereas Kunku was just dropping deep and deep and deep, and it was really, really frustrating. And again, I do feel for him, because he's a player that's not getting enough minutes. He does want to play in similar positions to Cole Palmer, but we need a proper striker who's going to threaten the defence. Otherwise, it's too easy for him. It's way too easy for them. And when we're not getting enough from our wingers, at least our front man needs to be making runs in behind, and he's not doing that. I don't know what the solution is within Kunku. Obviously, Mark Guiu's out for a significant amount of time. But we need to figure it out. That at the end of the day, you can ask me so many questions, but we need to figure it out. And in Kunku, if the instructions are to drop deep, and I don't understand why they are the instructions, and sometimes on players to assess the game state and then make the decisions themselves. Make that running behind, threaten the defence and try and make something happen. But at the moment, nothing's happening.
At this point, I think I'd rather just play a false 9. I'd rather just play, and not on Kunku. I'd rather play a winger because we, like you say, we're too predictable. It's too easy. And if we don't have Nicholas Jackson, everyone knows what we're going to do. But like Kwaku says, the only person that can find a solution here is Enzo Maresca, and he needs to find one, Jason. He needs to find one quickly, because Nicholas Jackson, you never know. He might, touch wood, he's not going to get injured, but he is now our only recognised number 9.
Yep. Well, I feel for Guiu, because he would have started against Brighton.
And I like him because he is, even though he's young and inexperienced, he's got the brain of a number 9. He knows which runs to make, and when you have that player in that position, you absolutely need that.
I totally agree. I mean, I'm just trying to think of how we could get in behind. Sometimes you make runs, not necessarily get the ball, to stretch the pitch, threaten him behind. I mean, maybe if Kunku comes out, Palmer, do they swap places? Does Palmer threaten him behind? But I still think our wide men can do more. I think our wide men could be that threat. And not necessarily out wide, make those runs, threaten Lewis Dunk, make him think about the space in behind. Can you imagine, see Pedro Neto creeping across the field, looking at getting behind? Can you imagine how that would make you feel if you're Lewis Dunk? You'd be worried about that space in behind.
Yeah.
We didn't make them work hard enough. That's what I want to see. What can we come up with on Friday evening?
Why do you think the wingers aren't doing that? Do you think that's like well, we know what Maresca is like, right? He's got an idea with his fullbacks. I think that's a good example. You will never see those fullbacks in that fullback position bombing up and down left and right. We've seen that with Reece James, and we've seen that on the left-hand side. We won't see that. Do you think he's similar with his wingers? He wants them to do one job and one job only, or is it down to the wingers to use their initiative and see if a player is dropping deep to then make that running behind? It's
on the players to take initiative, because like if they do make the running behind and it's working, Maresca's not going to be like, don't do that.
Stop, you stay on the line.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it's on the personnel, it's on the profile of the players. But I think when you're going through poor form, it all just looks poor, right? None of it looks good. But we do, like Jay said, we do need more from our wide men. We need more from Cole Palmer as well. Sometimes we actually do need more from Cole.
I mean, that sounds ridiculous saying that. Like we need more from Cole Palmer.
In terms of how good he is, he's again one of the best players in the league. Sometimes in games we do need to see more from him. Not in the Brighton game, that was a different prospect. But I think overall there just needs to be more impetus. There needs to be more oomph, and we're lacking that oomph. We're lacking that front-footedness, that bite.
It's all over the pitch because there's a malaise about the way we build up.
That's the word.
There's too many touches. It's too easy, and we're keeping the ball. We move it quick. Honestly, the best teams. You watch Arsenal, the way that they break, how quick they are, how incisive they are, how they move the ball through the thirds, and then they get the ball out wide because they have wide men.
Yeah.
They never struggle with getting behind teams. No. You know, and Brighton, they've got a game plan. It worked. There is no way Hertzler is going to change anything he done on Friday night that he did on Saturday. Maresca's got to do something different because I don't want to see the same game, please.
Oh, God, I don't think I'd be able to sit through the whole game again, to be perfectly honest. Goal scoring, obviously, we're going to get on to the wingers in a second because, we've been speaking about them, but Jadon Sancho more specifically in a little bit more detail. But I think just goal scoring in general has been an issue recently. I think first half of the season, Jace, we were talking about, creating all the chances and not scoring them. Now, these last few weeks, we're talking about not creating the chances. I mean, we were talking before, the 3 of the last 4 goals we've scored, City, they gave that to us. West Ham, a deflection over Areola that Palmer scored, and Verbruggen chucking it in his own net. Yep. That's worrying.
Yes, it is worrying. It's worrying. In the early part of the season, the first third of the season, we all sat here, congratulate the players, the amount of chances we had, winning games, missing chances. Yeah, there's a lot of chances we gave up, but we managed to find a way to get over the line and pick up points. We could have gone top against Everton, just going into that Christmas period. We didn't take advantage of it. Since then, the chances, it feels, have been less and less. I used to moan about not finishing chances. Now I'm moaning about not creating chances. That is a worst-case scenario, and that's why this slump has continued. Now we've gone through the mid-third of this season. We need to see a change into the final third. We need those chances that have dried up. If Jackson gets 1 or 2 a game and he's not on form, it becomes glaringly obvious that what I want to see is have 3 or 4 or 5. He might take one of those because no striker takes every chance, but they have dried up. Worryingly, those chances have dried up.
Kwaku, it is worrying that the chances have dried up, especially because, you'd rather be in a position where you're creating chances, the movement's there, the players are getting them, perhaps not taking them as much as we'd like. But when you're stopping creating chances, that's when it becomes a serious problem. Yeah. I mean, Cole Palmer, over the last few weeks, has created the most chances in Europe's top 5 leagues, which makes you think, doesn't it? And having watched Chelsea, I am quite surprised. I'm not surprised because it's Cole Palmer. I'm surprised because actually I'm thinking, have we? But then I think of some of the chances that Jackson's missed that Palmer's created. And you're saying we need more from Palmer, but at the same time, it feels like he is still creating. Yeah. But you need to rely on your teammates, and it's not there.
We need to learn how to be a top team because Jace pulled out the stat. Before this really poor run, there was a stat where in 2024, the only teams to have beaten us were Man City, Liverpool, Arsenal. Yeah. And I think now maybe teams are paying Chelsea a bit more respect and we're a bit more ponderous on the ball. Whereas previously, we were Chelsea in flux, Chelsea that people didn't really know what to make of us. But now we've got a lot of the ball, but we don't know what to do with it. We need to learn how to be a top team. And again, I hate to reference Arsenal because they haven't won anything. But Arsenal know how to be a top team. Liverpool know how to be a top team. Even City, who are going through a difficult period, they know how to be a top team. When you come up against teams that are game planning against you in terms of your top players trying to stop you doing what you do best, we need to figure out how to do that because we are now a top team. We are now a team where when we come to places, when we go to the Amex, Brighton are game planning against us because they're worried about what the threat we can provide. We don't know how to do that yet. The best part of our season last year came at the back end of it under Pochettino because teams kind of, I don't know, they didn't respect Chelsea and we kind of took them by surprise. Now teams are respecting Chelsea. We need to learn how to take a game to teams and learn how to dominate teams because against these teams that we should be beating, when you look at the run of fixtures we had during the Christmas period, we should be winning all of those games that we didn't.
I remember looking at those fixtures going, oh my God, so close to being top of the league. And we've got Ipswich, we've got Wolves, we've got Palace, we've got
we could be top of the table by December, by January the 1st. Yeah. Honestly.
It's just so Chelsea, isn't it? I think deep down we all knew this. Every season Chelsea have a blip, whether it's a blip. We always have it, but it's just come.
Do you remember this time last year? We were going through something similar. And we lost one game between them and the South. I think it was Wolves we lost at home to.
Yeah.
And then we went on
4-2,
this incredible run, which got us up into the European places, which, quite frankly, going into February looked completely...
And we should have got Europa League. Our league performance...
We did,
and
yes,
Man
and
United,
then
Man United ruined it for us.
But, right, so but right now, I don't know whether I can see that. Mind you, having said that, I'm not sure I could have seen that this time last year under Poch either. Look, we've got the players. Some tough games coming up as well, by the way, but let's get Brian out of the way.